Right. Hello, guys. We also begin with another important area, or I would say another important area that we have to cover as part of our UPSC preparation. Okay. So for a long period, I was trying to cover this one, the documents from the monthly policy review, all the important documents. Sorry, the documents from the PRS legislative research. In that monthly, they will release a magazine with the name of Monthly Policy Review (MPR). So let's start with this one. Okay, Monthly Policy Review. As the time passes by, I will also try and cover more and more documents from this platform, PRS Legislative Research. Okay, I hope you know very well that as part of your UPSC preparation, this platform, PRS Legislative Research, is also one of the important sources, the two authentic sources, okay, which will give you a lot of valuable information. Valuable, the important word is valuable, relevant information, authentic information. But generally, most of the time, students will ignore this because it's very not very, but little bit boring to follow this platform or website, read all the information that is there in the platform or website. That's why students ignore it, and they will try and go with the easier ways, maybe studying the magazine of an institute, monthly magazine of an institute, or uh, you know maybe simplified current affairs. But I would say it's a difficulty to follow this platform and read the things or information that is provided in the platform. Maybe it is the draft bills, research papers, and this monthly publication, that is Monthly Policy Review. But let me tell you, just like the PIB, Press Information Bureau, PRS, the documents of PRS legislative research are also very much authentic. They'll give you accurate and authentic information and valuable information. Actually, the information that's mentioned here, or the things that are mentioned here, they have the most, or they have the more probability of being asked in the examination. Okay, rather than some random current affairs magazines released by XYZ institutes. Okay, so I hope you start reading or start depending on this platform also to make your preparation more sound and more, what should I say, accurate, accurate and authentic, and more comprehensive also. Okay, so having said that, we will start the reading of the document or analysis of the document. You see, I'm taking this February 2026 document. You know very well, the document has been compiled and released on 3rd March. So they will take 1 month, okay, or after completion of the month, they will take a couple of days, 3 to 4 days to compile the magazine. So we are in March and we are studying February 2026 magazine. So when we go to April, then March magazine will come. And within the first week of April itself, I will try and cover the March monthly policy review. Okay. Right. So we will begin with the highlights of this issue. First half of the budget session concludes. Okay, budget has been presented, and general discussion has been, and the parliament has been recessed for analysis of the budget, scrutiny by the departmental standing committees. Then after some time, the parliament will regroup, and the second half of the session will start. Then new GDP series released. We will see about that new GDP series. Base year has been changed, etc. We will see that. Then Union Budget 2026-27 presented. Repo rate maintained at 5.25% by the Monetary Policy Committee. Okay, we will also see that. Then the next one is India-USA announced a framework for an interim trade agreement. You know very well, FTA has been, it has been revealed that FTA has been concluded between India and the USA, but the details we do not know, not yet they have been released openly to the public. Some expectations are there, we will see those expectations. Okay. Next one, Cabinet approves Startup India Fund of Funds 2.0 to mobilize venture capital. Very important one, we will see that. The Defence Acquisition Council approves of proposals worth of 3.6 lakh crore rupees. The important one, we will see that. Next one, bilateral talks were held with the four major countries. We will see. Okay, discussions were held with the countries France, Brazil, Malaysia, and Israel. We will look at them. Then cabinet approves Urban Challenge Fund. Okay. Then finally, AI Impact Summit. Very, very important one. Okay. The latest summit was held in India, and it concludes with the adoption of New Delhi Declaration. Okay, we will see the details of that one also. I have covered few aspects about this AI Impact Summit, also one and other things I have covered. If you want to, you can go and watch those videos. Okay, right. First, we'll see the things are related to Parliament. Okay, first half of the budget session concludes. Okay, you see the session began with the President's address to the Parliament and the Union Budget 26-27 presented. Apart from that, no bills were listed for introduction or consideration as per the session agenda. Okay. However, one bill was introduced and passed by both the houses. That is amendment. That is for amending the Industrial Relations Code 2020. It was introduced and passed by both houses. Right. Then we will see the macroeconomic developments. In that, very, very important one is new GDP series has been released. So MOSPI, it has released a new series of annual and quarterly national accounts estimates. That is, meaning of it is GDP. Okay. With 2022-23 as the base year. You see, base year is very, very important for releasing the data. And earlier it was 11-12, 2011-12. Now it has been changed to 2022. You know very well, frequently we will be changing the base year. We will be changing the base year. It is a regular practice to reflect, the changing realities in the calculation of GDP. Okay. You see, the new series updates estimation of methods, utilities, certain high frequency indicators, and revises the method for calculating deflation to arrive at a constant prices series. Okay. Right. Then some data has been shared according to the new base year series. Okay. According to that, the GDP is estimated to grow by 7.6% in 2025-26. Okay. Then GDP growth in 25-26 is estimated to be higher than 24-25, that is 7.1%. Then in 2023-24, GDP grew at 7.2%. Okay. Right. So this is the these are the GDP figures according to the new base year. Okay. Then as per the new series, GDP at current prices in 2025-26 is estimated at 345 lakh crores rupees, which is 3.4% lower than the estimate of 357 lakh crore under the earlier series. Okay, in this way there are some corrections also. Don't worry about it. You try to remember this figure. Okay. According to the new series, GDP at current prices stands at 345 lakh crore rupees. Okay. Then GDP at constant prices grew at 7.8% in the third quarter, October-December 2025-26. Okay. So these are some of the figures you have to remember. Then it is mentioned in graph also, bar graph. GDP grew at constant 2022-23 prices. Okay, up to the third quarter of 25-26 are given. You can go through them. Then sector-wise growth rate is also mentioned. Okay, you can go through with that also. Okay, few figures we will see. Manufacturing sector registered the highest growth in the third quarter of 25-26, that is 13.3%, followed by financial services 11.2% and the trade 11%. Okay, these are the sectors that have grown strongly in the third quarter of present financial year. Okay, then GBA figures were also given. if you have to properly know the sectoral contribution, then you will calculate GVA, okay, gross value added figures, okay. Anyhow, for the current financial year, the GPA and the GDP stand at same percentage, 7.8% and 7.8%. Okay. Right. Then another important piece of information is RBI maintains a repo rate at 5.5%. Okay, the Monetary Policy Committee voted to maintain the policy repo rate. You know very well what is repo rate. Okay, at 5.21%. In this way, MPC has chosen to maintain status. Okay, then other decisions were also taken. The standing deposit facility rate. Okay, it remains unchanged at 5%. What is it? What is the standing deposit facility rate? It is the rate at which RBI borrows from banks without giving collateral. Okay? That is a standing deposit facility rate. It is maintained at 5%. Then the marginal standing facility rate, it is the rate at which which bank at rate at which banks can borrow additional overnight funds from the Reserve Bank of India without any collateral. And the bank rate, what is it? The rate at which RBI lends money to commercial banks for the long term. Both of them remain unchanged at 5.5%. Okay. Then in this way, by maintaining the policy rates as they are, the Monetary Policy Committee decided to continue with its neutral stance with respect to monetary policy. Okay. Then another piece of information is the MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, revises base year for IAP and CPI also. And these are inflation indicators of inflation. So just like the new series has been released for GDP by changing the base year, for inflation also base years have been changed. Okay. So the revised base year of index of industrial production, IAP, and the CPI, Consumer Price Index. The new base year for IAP is 2022-23, and for CPI, Consumer Price Index, it will be 2024. Okay. Then finance, Union Budget 26-27 is presented. So in very detail, I have covered the discussion about the budget in two videos, budget at a glance and the highlights of the budget. If you want to, you can go through those videos and watch the budget analysis in detail. However, some highlights are being given. Okay. Expenditure is estimated at 53,47,000 crore rupees for the coming financial year, that is for 2026-27, which is an increase of 7.7% over the revised estimates, not the budgeted estimates, revised estimates of the current financial year. Then the similar manner, receipts will stand at, okay, 36,51,547 crore, which is 7.2% higher than the revised estimates of the present financial year. Okay. Then the nominal GDP growth rate is going to be 10%. Remember, this is nominal, not real GDP. Okay. Deficits stand at, the revenue deficit is targeted at 1.5% of GDP. This is similar to revised estimates of 1.5% in the financial year, current financial year 25-26. Fiscal deficit is targeted 4.3% of GDP. Okay. Then some important tax proposals are also there. If you want, you can go through the tax proposals. Then some policy proposals are also there. We will see them. Okay, a high-level committee on banking for Viksit Bharat will be set up. Important decision. Then the foreign exchange management, non-debt instrument rules will be reviewed to simplify framework for foreign investments. Then a scheme will be introduced to revive 200 legacy industry or industrial clusters. Then the semiconductor mission 2.0 will be launched. I have made a detailed video about the India Semiconductor Mission 2.0. If you have time, you can go back and watch that video also. India semiconductor mission. Okay. You see, to enable domestic production of biologics, a biopharma Shakti scheme will be implemented for the period of 5 years. Okay. The same figures, once again, they have been mentioned here. We can go through the figures. Then another important piece of information is RBI releases a draft revised master direction on credit derivatives. Maybe from the point of view of examination, this may not be that much important. Okay. Then another item is RBI invites comments on amendments related to lending to REITs, okay, real estate investment trust, and invites infrastructure investment trust. Okay. The Reserve Bank of India released draft directions for lending to real estate investment trusts. So far, commercial banks were not permitted to lend to these entities, and now it is proposed to permit commercial banks to extend finance to years. Okay, but subjected to certain safeguards. Okay, so the key provisions are there with respect to lending to riots. So you can go through them. Then also RBI issues amendment directions on capital market exposure. Okay, so RBI amended capital market exposure CME guidelines for commercial banks. CME of banks include investment in securities, lending against securities, and lending to capital market intermediaries, such as stock brokers. Okay, so amendment directions were issued with respect to that. If you want, you can go through the details also. Okay, maybe they might be asked in the prelims examination as to what are those directions, etc. Then we have already seen SEBI releases consultation paper on ease of doing business for REI, real estate investment trust and invites infrastructure investment trust. Okay. Then we will go to commerce and industry segment. India and USA announced the framework for an interim trade agreement. Okay, free trade agreement. The details are not in open, but the announcement has been made by both the parties. Okay, you see, this framework forms part of the ongoing negotiations towards US-India bilateral trade agreement (FTA). Okay, some people are calling it as FTA, also free trade agreement. Okay. However, some key terms have been given here. We'll see those key terms. Okay, key terms of the agreement include first one. Give me 1 second. Elimination of reduction of tariffs by India on all industrial goods from USA and a wide range of food and agricultural products from US. Okay, so India is going to reduce tariffs on the goods coming from USA, both industrial goods and agricultural products. Second one, reciprocal tariff of 18% by USA on Indian exports, such as textile, leather, and plastics. Okay. Then third one, preferential market access in sectors of mutual interest. There is going to be preferential access for both the countries. And the fourth one is addressing non-tariff barriers. You see, between India and USA, or it is between India and EU, the non-tariff barriers were also a big issue. It's good for India that now it has gone forward in trying to address these non-tariff barrier issues regarding its exports. Okay. Further, it was also announced that USA will remove reciprocal tariffs on a range of products, including pharmaceuticals and aircraft parts. You know very well, we are known for pharmaceutical production, and we are exporting to a number of countries. But because of some non-tariff barriers, our exports are not up to the potential. Maybe it is to USA or even to the European Union. Okay. However, this reciprocal or removal of tariff is subjected to successful conclusion of the interim agreement. Okay. Further, India would purchase $500 billion of energy products from USA. Energy products, aircraft and aircraft parts, precious metals, technology products, and coking coal from USA by 2030. Okay, this is the assurance given by India. Okay. Then these negotiations are underway after the decision of USA to impose a reciprocal tariffs on imports across several countries, including India. We know very well that Trump has imposed, unilateral 50% tariffs on India because we were importing the Russian oil. In that background, these negotiations were held and announcements were made. Okay. Yes. Then another piece of information is India and Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC) signed terms of reference for a free trade agreement. So soon you can say that soon we are going to sign a free trade agreement with GCC. Okay. You see the terms of reference aim to guide the negotiations for the FTA by defining its core and modalities. If you see the data, India's trade with the GCC stood at about $179 billion in 2024-25, accounting for 15% of India's global trade. So GCC is a significant trading partner for us. So concluding an FTA with the GCC will, it's a good development, we can say. If you go through the exports, key exports and import goods, Indian exports to GCC include engineering goods, rice, textiles, machinery, and gems and jewelry. Key imports from GCC include crude oil, LNG, liquefied natural gas, petrochemicals, and precious metals such as gold. Okay. Next one, Cabinet approves Startup India Fund of Funds 2.0 to mobilize venture capital. Very important piece of information. You can quote this in the mains examination. Okay. You see, Union Cabinet has announced the establishment of Startup India Fund of Funds 2.0 with allocation of 10,000 crore rupees. Okay. What are the objectives of this fund? The objectives are the fund aims to support high technology driven areas requiring long-term capital. Then early growth stage founders requiring a safety net for innovative ideas. Then investment beyond major metro cities. Then also to support priority areas promoting self-reliance and economic growth. And 5 smaller funds. Okay, these are the objectives of the Startup India Fund of funds to fund. Okay. We'll move forward. We'll see the aspects that are there in defense related developments. We will see. Apparently, only one piece of information is there. Defense Acquisition Council clears procurement proposals across services. Okay. You see the defense DAC approved defense procurement proposals worth of 3.6 lakh crore rupees across the 3 armed forces, Army, Air Force, and Navy, and Coast Guard included. Okay. For the Air Force, the approvals include procurement of Rafale fighter jets, combat missiles, and airship-based high-altitude pseudo satellites. Okay. Majority of the Rafale fighter jets are already expected to be manufactured domestically. Then if you see for the Army, approvals covered anti-tank mines and overhaul of platforms for armored recovery vehicles, then T-72 tanks and BMP-2 infantry combat vehicles, which are aimed at extending equipment service life and improving operational readiness. Then for the Navy, if you see, approvals include 4 megawatt marine gas turbine-based electric power generators and additional P-8I maritime reconnaissance aircraft, surveillance aircraft, you can call them, to enhance self-reliance in power generation and strengthen maritime surveillance and anti-submarine warfare capabilities. Okay. And for Coast Guard also, some acquisitions. Okay. Apart from that, the Ministry of Defense also signed a contract with the HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, for the acquisition of 8 Dornier 2-8 aircrafts, along with the operational rule equipment for the coast. Okay. Then we will move to external affairs. Okay, another important area. Bilateral talks were held with the 4 major countries. We have seen them. Talks with the France, Brazil, Malaysia, and Israel. Okay, with the France, the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, he visited India for bilateral talks. Okay, the two countries announced the upgradation of their relationship to special global strategic partnership. Remember this. Special global strategic partnership. You see, an annual foreign ministers dialogue will be established for regularly reviewing the implementation and elevated partnership, and a Horizon 2047. Okay. Other key outcomes include very important one. Try to remember them. Renewal of the agreement between India and France on defense cooperation. Second one, signing of a joint venture between Bharat Electronics Limited and French defense company Safran to produce hammer missiles in India. Third one is joint declaration of intent for cooperation in critical minerals and metals. Fourth one is amending protocol on the double tax avoidance agreement between India and France. Okay, so 2 of them are related to defense and 2 are related to other areas. Okay. Apart from that, the key areas of cooperation include renewable energy and digital sciences and technology. You know very well, renewable energy, there is a great cooperation between India and France. Okay, both of them together have announced this International Solar Alliance, ISA. Okay, both are leaders of that one, so you can understand. Okay. Then third area of cooperation is research and development in infectious diseases and global health. Fourth area is startup ecosystem, and the fifth one is skilling in aeronautics. Okay. With Brazil, the president of Brazil, Mr. Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, he visited India for bilateral talks. Key areas of cooperation include rare earth and critical minerals, which is very, very important for India. Regulation of drugs and medical devices, MSMEs and crafts. Next area is digital partnership. Fifth one is mining for steel supply chain, and last one is postal supply. Malaysian president, Prime Minister, our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he visited Malaysia for bilateral talks. Key areas of cooperation agreed during the visit include disaster management, combating and preventing corruption, semiconductors, vocational education and training, health and medicine, and the national security. These are the areas that were discussed. Okay. Then, if you see, finally with Israel, okay, the Honorable Prime Minister also visited Israel for bilateral talks. The two countries elevated their bilateral relationship to a special strategic partnership for peace, innovation, and prosperity. Remember this phrase also. Okay. Moreover, both the countries agreed to collaborate in critical and emerging technologies led by national security advice. Okay. And after that, many agreements were also signed for cooperation in areas such as artificial intelligence, geophysical exploration, labor mobility, fisheries and agriculture. Then development of a national maritime heritage complex in Lothal, Gujarat. You know, historical and archaeologically significant place, Lothal. Next one is establishing an India-Israel Center for Agriculture and cross-border remittances through UPI. Okay, these are the important areas of cooperation. Moreover, the two countries also signed declarations of intent on cooperation in horizon scanning and establishing an Indo-Israel Cyber Center of Excellence. Okay. Then we'll move forward. Urban development, some important developments are there. We will see. Okay. First one is Cabinet approves Urban Challenge Fund. Okay. The Union Cabinet has approved the fund with the total central assistance of 1 lakh crore rupees for projects between 2025-26 to 30-30. Okay, it will finance projects for integrated spatial and transit planning, urban mobility, creative redevelopment of cities, climate resilience, and water and sanitation. Okay, then the fund will be available for the following categories of cities. Okay, all cities with a population of 10 lakh or more on the basis of 2025 estimates, then capitals of all states and union territories, and the list goes on. We can look into that. Okay, some key aspects of the fund, if you see, central assistance will cover 25% of the total project cost, subjected to a minimum of 50% of financing through market sources. Okay. Then a project selection. Projects will be selected through a competitive challenge mode. Then credit repayment guarantee scheme. Okay, smaller urban local bodies, uh, you know, they will be covered under this particular scheme. Okay, a dedicated corpus of rupees 5,000 crores will be set up for them. These are some of the important takeaways about the urban development fund. Okay, urban challenge fund also. Next, we will enter into another domain, that is labor and employment. Very, very important development. Parliament passes the Industrial Relations Code Amendment Bill 2026. Okay, right. You see, the bill was introduced in the present Lok Sabha only, and it is passed by both the houses. The code provides for matters such as recognition of trade unions, notice periods for strikes and lockouts, and a resolution of industrial disputes. Okay, we know very well. We knew already this information that the code 2020 code, it replaces the three acts, namely the Trade Unions Act of 1926, the Industrial Employment Orders, Standing Orders Act 1946, and the Industrial Disputes Act of 1947. Okay. The bill clarifies that these three acts stand repealed from November 21, 2020. Okay. Then further, the comments are invited on draft regulations under the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code 2020. Okay. You see, the Ministry of Labor and Employment invited comments on this particular topic. These regulations specify requirements regarding occupational safety and working conditions of the workers in two sectors, metalliferous mines and docks. Okay. If you see the key features for metalliferous mines and dock workers, the details are given. You can go through the details if you want to study in much more detail. Okay, but comments were invited. Okay, next area we will touch is electronics and IT, information technology. Very, very important development. Try to read as much as possible about the AI Impact Summit of 2026 because it has happened in India in both exams, prelims and the mains. So definitely you are going to get questions from this right now. So it concluded with the adoption of the New Delhi Declaration on AI Impact. Okay. The declaration has endorsed by 91 countries and international organizations. Okay, these are the countries who have been participating. What it does, it seeks to strengthen international cooperation through voluntary and non-binding initiatives. These include promoting affordable access to foundational AI resources, Second one, developing global AI impact performance, which will be a platform to scale and replicate AI use cases globally. Third one, facilitating collaboration among scientists globally through international networks of AI for science institutions. Then promoting vocational and training ecosystems to increase AI literacy. And finally, developing energy efficient AI systems. Okay. Another important development is India joins a PAX Silica coalition. What is it? You see, India formally joined this PAX Silica coalition on the sidelines of this AI India AI Impact Summit. You see, it aims, PAX Silica aims to build secure supply chains for silicon and critical minerals that are required for semiconductors, advanced computing, and other high technology systems. Okay. If you see the list of signatories who are part of this PAX Silica, they are Australia, Greece, Israel, Japan, Qatar, South Korea, Singapore, UAE, UK, and US. Okay. Non-signatory participants include European Union, OECD, Canada, Netherlands, and Thailand. Okay. Try to remember the list of the names of the countries. They might be asked in the previous examination. Then we move to mining. With respect to mining, rules notified under the Offshore Areas Mineral Development and Regulation Act. Okay. The Ministry of Mines has notified these offshore areas mineral prevention of illegal mining and the transportation rules of 2026. The rules have been framed under Offshore Areas Mineral Development and Regulation Act of 2002. What is the purpose of this act? The act regulates mining in the maritime zones of India. Okay. The rules will apply to all minerals in offshore areas except mineral oils and hydrocarbons. The key areas you can see here: electronic monitoring, registration, export of offshore minerals, dispatch and transportation, etc. All these details are there. Then inspection and seizure, provisions related to all these things are there in the guidelines or in the or in the rules. Okay, you can go through the rules. Then transport scheme launched for cashless treatment of road accident victims. The scheme name is PM Rahat. Okay, try to remember the name of the scheme. Okay, you see, under this scheme, every eligible road accident victim on any category of road will be entitled to cashless treatment up to 1.5 lakh rupees for up to 7 days from the date of the accident. Okay. Then a stabilization treatment will be covered for up to 24 hours in a non-life-threatening cases and up to 48 hours in life-threatening cases. Okay. Then first hospitals have to treat the accident victims. Then they will be later. They will be reimbursed with the money that is there in motor vehicle accident fund. We move to the area of pharmaceuticals. Comments invited on the draft amendments to the new drugs and clinical trial rules 2000. See, clinical trials is a very, very important and critical area. It's a little bit, what should I say, conflicting also, critical area also. So, in that context, the topic becomes very important. Okay. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare released a draft amendments to the new drugs and clinical trials rules of 2019 for public feedback. Okay. The purpose of rules is the rules specify the mechanism for approval of new drugs for conduct of clinical research. Okay. The proposed amendments required a manufacturer to inform the drugs controller, India, if there is any or if there is a change in an imported or a manufactured drug. Okay. This includes changes in the manufacturing process, packaging, shelf life, or testing of the drug. Then in case of any major or moderate quality change, they must obtain prior approval from the drugs controller. Okay. Moreover, major or moderate change imply a substantial or moderate potential to have an adverse impact on the identity, strength, quality, purity, or potency, respectively. Okay. So these are the things that you have to see in this edition of the monthly policy review. Of course, the NPR monthly policy review is for the month of February. You see, I rushed in the beginning because all the things you have read and understood when you might have studied the summary of the budget, etc. And I myself have covered several things that are there in this in the beginning of this document in various videos. So that's why I have rushed in the beginning. Anyhow, you try and get the original document, monthly policy review, and try and go through it once. Then it will become like a revision for you. Then you will be in a better position to remember the things that you have discussed in this document. Okay. I'll try and make sure that I cover some more important documents from the PRS legislative research. But let me promise you that from now onwards, the documents from the PRS legislative research are also going to be one of the important discussion points in our preparation from now onwards. Okay, so I'll be regularly discussing the documents and uploading them in a separate playlist so that it will become easier for you to find. Okay, right. This is it for today. See you next time. Until then, you have a very good. See you next time.